Welcome back to Steve and Abby English. I am Steve.
And I am Abby. And Steve, I want to start today with a question.
Go ahead.
When you wrote your first resume, like your very first one, what skills did you put on it? What were you most proud to include?
Honestly, probably things like proficient in Microsoft Excel, data analysis, strong writing ability, that kind of thing. The skills that felt concrete and provable.
Yes, the technical stuff, the measurable stuff. And then at the bottom, in that little section that nobody really reads, you put something like good communicator or works well in a team.
Which honestly felt a little embarrassing to write. Like, saying I work well in a team is basically saying nothing. Everyone puts that.
Right. Those were the soft skills. The ones you added at the bottom to seem like a complete person. And nobody was really that impressed by them.
But here is what we are talking about today. Because something is changing, and I think it is one of the biggest shifts happening in the working world right now. The skills that used to sit at the bottom of your resume, the soft skills, are quietly becoming the most valuable skills you can have. And the skills at the top, the technical, measurable, hard skills, are becoming the easiest ones for technology to replace.
The soft skills are now the hard skills.
Exactly. Today we are going to talk about why that is happening, what it actually means in practice, and what you can do about it, starting today. Okay, let me explain the shift first. For a long time, when people said hard skills, they meant technical skills, coding, data analysis, accounting, translating documents, writing formal reports, operating specific software. These were called hard because they were specific, they were teachable, and you could measure whether someone had them.
You either know how to use Excel pivot tables or you do not.
Exactly. And soft skills were things like communication, empathy, listening well, giving feedback, reading the mood of a room. These were called soft because they were harder to measure and harder to teach in a classroom.
They also kind of got dismissed, I think. Like, oh, she is good with people. Did not sound as impressive as she knows 3 programming languages.
And for most of the past few decades, that was actually a reasonable way to think. Hard skills got you hired. Soft skills helped you keep the job and move up.
But that equation is changing.
Very fast. Because the thing about hard skills, the technical, measurable, rule-following skills, is that AI is very good at learning them. AI learns by finding patterns, and most hard skills are fundamentally about applying patterns. Write a report in this format. Analyze this data using this method. Translate this sentence accurately.
AI is incredibly good at patterns.
So the technical skills that used to make a person valuable, because they required years of study and practice, are increasingly things that AI can do faster, more consistently, and at a fraction of the cost.
That is a little terrifying if your resume is mostly technical skills.
It is a real thing to sit with. I am not saying technical skills are worthless. You still need enough technical knowledge to manage tools, to know when AI makes a mistake, to ask the right questions. But the barrier, the thing that used to make technical skill rare and valuable, is falling very quickly.
So the question becomes, what skills are still hard? What can AI not do? Okay, I want to talk about what I think is the first skill that AI genuinely cannot replace well. And it is something I noticed at work a few months ago that really stuck with me.
Tell me.
I have a colleague. Let us call her M. And I was going through a really stressful stretch. I was not talking about it. I was showing up, doing my job, acting like everything was fine. And one day, M pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I just want to check in. You seem a little off this week. Are you okay?"
She noticed.
She noticed before I even said anything, before I asked for help. She picked up on something. My body language, the tone of my emails, the fact that I was quieter in meetings, and she made the time to check on me. That changed my whole week.
And no AI in a meeting summary would catch that.
No. An AI can summarize what was said in a meeting. It cannot notice that I said less than usual, or that my voice sounded flat, or that I did not make eye contact the way I normally do. That kind of reading the human in front of you, requires presence and attention and genuine care.
This is what I would call emotional attentiveness. Emotional. E-M-O-T-I-O-N-A-L. Attentiveness. A-T-T-E-N-T-I-V-E-N-E-S-S. It means you notice what is happening inside another person, even when they are not saying it directly.
And it is not just about being nice. It is a genuine skill. It affects your ability to lead, to build a team, to have honest conversations, to know when to push and when to give someone space.
And it is built through years of practice in being with people. It cannot be shortcut with a tool. The second skill I want to talk about is trust building. And this one sounds simple, but it is actually quite deep.
What do you mean by trust building?
Trust between people, in a team, with a client, between a manager and the people they manage, is built over time through consistent behavior. You say you will do something, and you do it. You show up when things are hard. You tell someone the truth even when it is uncomfortable. You remember what someone told you last month, and you follow up.
It is all the small things stacked up.
And here is what is interesting about AI. AI can be consistent. It can be accurate. It can respond at any hour. But trust is not built through consistency alone. Trust is built because another human is there. Someone who could have let you down but chose not to. Someone who has their own pressures and their own life, and still showed up.
There is something about knowing that a real person chose to help you.
Right. When a friend helps you move into a new apartment, you do not feel grateful because they were efficient. You feel grateful because they gave you their Saturday. Because they could have said no, and they said yes.
AI does not have a Saturday to give.
And in a workplace, that matters more than people realize. The relationships that carry teams through hard times, layoffs, failed projects, stressful deadlines, are built on that kind of human trust. You cannot automate your way to it.
I think I have taken this for granted. I have good relationships at work, and I kind of assumed that just happens. But it is actually something I have been building through 100 small choices.
It is work. It is just work that does not look like work, because it happens in conversations and moments, not in deliverables. Okay, third skill. And this one I think is going to surprise some people.
I like surprises.
Creative judgment. Not creativity in the general sense, not thinks outside the box, which is maybe the most overused phrase in job listings ever.
So true.
I mean the ability to look at a situation that has never happened before in exactly this way and make a call. To say, given everything I know about these people, this context, this history, this moment, here is the right move. Not the average move, not the statistically most likely move, the right move for this specific thing.
AI is very good at average, not so good at specific.
That is exactly right. AI learns from huge amounts of data, and it gives you outputs that are good across many situations. It optimizes for the average. But really good judgment, the kind that makes someone a great manager or a great negotiator or a great teacher, comes from being deeply inside a specific situation, and knowing things that cannot be put into a prompt.
Like the time my manager decided not to give someone feedback in front of the whole team. There was nothing technically wrong with giving the feedback in that moment, but she could tell it would embarrass that person in a specific way based on things she knew about that person. And she saved it for later. Nobody wrote a rule for that. She just knew.
That is creative judgment. Reading the particular, not just the general. And it is built through experience, through care, through paying attention over time.
Which is basically everything AI does not have.
Right. AI does not have experience in your specific company, with your specific team. It does not remember the conversation you had with someone 6 months ago that shaped your working relationship. It does not know who in the room has history with who. You know those things, and that knowledge, when you act on it well, is incredibly valuable.
Okay, so where does this leave us practically? Because I want this to be something people can actually do something with.
Here is the thing. These skills, emotional attentiveness, trust building, creative judgment, they are not magic. They are not something some people are born with and others are not. They are learnable. They just are not usually taught in school because school mostly teaches the technical stuff.
Which, as we just established, is exactly the stuff AI is now very good at.
So the practical shift is this. Start treating your soft skills with the same seriousness you would give to a technical skill you are trying to build. If you wanted to learn data analysis, you would take a course, you would practice, you would seek feedback. You can do the same with communication, with listening, with emotional attentiveness.
What does that actually look like?
A few things. 1. Practice active listening. Active listening. That means when someone is talking to you, your whole job is to understand them, not to prepare your next thing to say. It sounds simple. Most people are very bad at it because it is genuinely difficult to be fully present.
I know I am bad at it. I am already thinking about my response half the time.
Which is honest, and most people would say the same. So practicing that, genuinely trying to understand before responding, is a skill you can develop. Pay attention to what you do in conversations. Notice when you stop listening. Try again.
Another one I have been trying? Asking better questions. Not just, how are you, but actually following up on what someone said last time. Hey, you mentioned you were stressed about that project last week. How did it go? That shows you remembered. That builds something.
That builds trust. Right there, in that small moment.
And here is the encouraging part of this whole conversation. These skills, I have been building them my whole life. In my family, with my friends, in every job I have had. I have been getting better at reading people and building relationships and making calls in uncertain situations for years. I just never thought of those as professional skills.
Which is the irony. The skills you may have dismissed as soft or personal or obvious are quietly becoming the skills with the most market value. Because they are the ones machines cannot do well.
The thing I put at the bottom of my resume might be the most important line on it.
And the thing you have been practicing your whole life, without knowing it, might be your biggest advantage.
Okay, I want to end with something small and actionable, because that is my favorite kind of ending.
Go ahead.
Think about one soft skill. One of these human skills we have been talking about that you actually have. Maybe you are really good at listening. Maybe you are good at knowing when a colleague needs space versus when they need encouragement. Maybe you are good at giving feedback in a way that does not feel like a personal attack.
Most people have at least one of these that they are genuinely strong in.
Take that skill, and this week, use it deliberately. Not because you have to, but because it is worth investing in. Because it is real. It is yours. And right now, It matters more than maybe it ever has.
The skills you used to put at the bottom of your resume, they deserve to move up.
A lot higher.
All right, that is everything for today. Thank you for listening to Steve and Abby English. If this episode gave you something to think about, please share it with someone who is also thinking about where their career is going in a world with AI.
And if you want to leave a comment about which soft skill you think is most valuable, we are honestly very curious what you think.
We will see you in the next one.
See you then!